Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Book summary and key takeaways.
Introduction: The Quest for Happiness.
Why do so many people, despite having unprecedented material comfort today, still feel restless or unfulfilled? Csikszentmihalyi argues that happiness isn't some magical gift bestowed by luck or wealth. Instead, it's a skill. Decades of research show that we are most satisfied when we are fully absorbed in a meaningful activity. He calls this state flow. It's not about escaping reality. It's about engaging with it so deeply that time, self-consciousness, and all external worries fade away.
Chapter 1: Happiness Reconsidered.
Here, Csikszentmihalyi challenges the cultural myth that happiness comes from external rewards. Wealth, beauty, or status might bring temporary pleasure, but they rarely sustain actual joy. Instead, true happiness happens when we learn to control our consciousness. By deliberately directing our attention toward activities that stretch our abilities, we actively construct our optimal experiences. Happiness isn't a passive state. It's built entirely through the choices we make about where we invest our energy.
Takeaway: happiness is less about what happens to us and more about how we focus our attention.
Chapter 2: The Anatomy of Consciousness. Consciousness is a dynamic system processing information, and attention acts like a spotlight. It selects what matters from millions of competing stimuli. When you invest that attention into coherent, clear goals, your consciousness becomes ordered, producing genuine enjoyment. On the flip side, disorder in our consciousness leads to anxiety or boredom. Our consciousness is a limited channel, and what we choose to fill it with literally determines the quality of our lives. Example: a musician practicing scales may feel frustration at first, but as attention narrows to mastering rhythm and tone, the experience becomes absorbing and joyful. Chapter 3: Enjoyment and the Quality of Life. Pleasure is fleeting and passive. Enjoyment is active and growth-oriented. It requires effort, skill, and facing a challenge. Experiences that stretch our abilities build our character and resilience, whereas pleasure alone can ultimately leave us empty. Practical insight. Ask yourself, does this activity stretch me? If yes, it's more likely to generate flow.
Chapter 4: Conditions of Flow. Flow emerges when 3 conditions align: clear goals, 2, immediate feedback, 3, a balance between challenge and skill, where the task is neither too easy nor impossibly hard. Too little challenge leads to boredom. If the challenge is too high, you experience anxiety. Flow sits in the narrow channel between the two, where conditions are perfectly tuned.
Chapter 5: The Paradox of Work.
Work is often seen as drudgery, and we look forward to leisure time. Yet research shows people actually experience more flow at work than in their free time, because work naturally provides clear goals, immediate feedback, and structured challenges. Passive leisure rarely demands enough skill to produce flow. Ironically, the place we often complain about is the very arena where we feel most alive. Reflection. Reframing work as a potential source of flow can transform how we approach daily tasks. Chapter 6: The Body in Flow. Physical activities like sports, dance, and martial arts are prime real estate for flow. They naturally demand deep discipline, skill, and intense focus. When you are engaged physically at the edge of your limits, time disappears and self-consciousness vanishes. The body and the action feel completely in harmony. Peak performance feels totally effortless, yet deeply controlled. Example: a runner hitting their stride experiences rhythm, breath, and movement as one seamless flow. Chapter 7: The Flow of Thought. Intellectual pursuits like reading, writing, or coding can generate immense flow. When genuine curiosity drives us to master a complex idea, our minds become totally absorbed. The act of learning becomes its own intrinsic reward, and scientists and hobbyists alike frequently lose all track of time while immersed in thought. Cultivate your curiosity, ask questions that stretch your understanding, and flow will follow. Chapter 8: Flow in Relationships. Flow applies to social life too. Deep, engaging conversations, collaborating on shared projects, and dynamic romantic relationships can foster flow when they involve mutual challenge, feedback, and growth. Superficial interactions won't engage your consciousness enough. Flow in relationships requires both people to be fully invested in co-creating experiences that stretch and enrich both people. Chapter 9: The Autotelic Personality.
Autotelic individuals seek flow by doing things for their own sake, rather than chasing external rewards. Autotelic individuals are resilient, deeply curious, and intrinsically motivated. When they face adversity, they don't crumble. They turn those challenges into opportunities for growth, which is a major key to a meaningful life.
Practical exercise. Try reframing a difficult task as an opportunity to learn rather than a burden.
Chapter 10, Creating Meaning in Life. The book concludes by urging readers to consciously design lives that maximize flow, unify your goals, constantly cultivate your skills, and actively embrace challenges. Meaning in life doesn't come from passive consumption. It comes from daily experiences structured around growth and active enjoyment. Flow is a manual for living that shows us happiness is actively created. By choosing where to place your attention, you can transform ordinary life into a source of meaning and joy.